Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Graceful, the Barrens. Last time, the group met a total 3 more werewolves. Former werewolf, well, currently not werewolves. There we go. And spread out, reunited with them. Crossed through the forest into some pine barrens to find the one where they were attacked by a Barrens devil. The Jersey devil. It's the Jersey devil. That's pretty much it. So we will pick up there. What would you all like to do? You're currently with Emerald, the werewolf gunslinger.
In 2 words, you just made my favorite NPC ever.
I guess we should head back to camp.
Okay.
I agree. I do this voice. I'm Clangley.
If there are going to be no more of whatever the heck that was, that I am fine with that decision.
Well, one can hope.
I'm sure we can find some kind of repellent item, something to ward off these unfortunate crewmates who seem to have lost their faculties temporarily. Forget what Clangley's voice sounds like. It's been a long time.
That can be whatever you want it to be.
Sounds like Clangley.
Sounds like Clangley.
Yeah. The werewolves are unwerewolfed right now. To be clear, so during it is the day, so they are no longer werewolves. Okay.
I don't suppose we think keeping them inside would work. What with them being out of the moon trays?
Well, we tried that.
Oh dear.
Still a wolf.
Oh my. Yes, I admit I was indisposed trying to wrangle some of the other lycanthropes, as it were. All right, well, what's our next course of action? Do we think it is wise to try and find the other ships?
We already found the other ships.
My mistake. I should have paid more attention when I watched last episode.
Didn't we?
You haven't reunited with them yet. You have located crew members from a total of 3 of them. And you know that one other ship was attacked by crocodiles with wings. As described. So it's unclear what attacked them.
The little rim around Clangley's one eye kind of pops off. Crocodiles with wings, you say? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Sounds quite dangerous.
Boy.
Dragons, or...
What in blazes a dragon? Actually, do I know what in blazes a dragon is?
You would know what a dragon is. They are legendary. There are no dragons left. They're dragonborn, but no proper dragons left.
That's preposterous. The dragons died out ages ago. If they were dragons, I'm sure we would... But actually, we've never been down here before, have we? There could be dragons.
There could be dragons.
Well, good news. I've fought 2 of them before, so...
You have quite the adventuring academy history. You must regale us with your tales of valor at some point, Lady Issabel.
At some point.
Which way? We linked them in the description. Sorry. All right. No more breaking the fourth wall.
It's right there.
You're just a quick little tap with the hammer.
We'll post socials in chat. Now, okay, I can do that actually.
Even then, only one of them was on screen. The other one was in backstory.
Did you fight a dragon on stream? I can't even remember. Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah.
I was like, that wasn't in Keldon. Right, it wasn't.
It wasn't in Keldon.
No, it was in the crossover. Okay. So yeah, so you can either go back to the ship, your crashed ship. You can try and rendezvous with the camp where the uncrashed ships landed, or there is one werewolf still loose.
Oh dear. Well, is it responsible to let a werewolf go run around, possibly eating more people? Is that really responsible?
I mean, no.
We have until the next lunar cycle until the werewolfing is a problem again, so...
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Still, if it were physically possible for me to eat people, I wouldn't want to, wake up in the middle of the forest and knowing that I ate people and be all alone.
That is true. I think it would probably be best if we try and find them post-haste. Of course, I'm quite thankful that I don't believe Warforged can become werewolves, as you say, lycanthropes.
That we know of.
What would a Warforged even look like? Oh no,
I think I can picture it.
Didn't I?
Look like Mega Man's dog.
Would look like Mega Man's dog. That's rad.
What in blazes is Mega Man?
I like how y'all are giving Andy ideas.
Yeah.
Oh no! Give Andy more werewolf ideas.
Keep going.
Do it.
I already have a thing for werewolves I've got thought of, but no, werewolf Warforged? Werewolf forged?
Werewolves. They're forged.
Their castle.
Yes. Thank you, Jay.
Isn't that an episode of Futurama, the Werecar?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's also a weird old cartoon where a teenage boy, if he gets too...
Turbo Teen!
If he gets too hot, he turns into a car.
Oh, you can find the transformation sequence. It's
horrible.
It's horrible in the sense of, like...
Amazing?
Amazing, yes. Like, it's dated animation.
Okay.
Oh, right. And vampires is a thing that exists. Thanks for that, Chad. I had
Why
forgotten.
would you say that?
It's not as bad as you think it is. It's worse.
This isn't the vampire fighting party. That was last time.
Because the vampires aren't really vampires. They're really more like werecars, but that wasn't the pun that they wanted to go with.
So, anyway, we are so off topic.
Anyway, we're here to play D&D.
Dungeons & Dragons.
We haven't done a whole lot.
Okay. So, you want to go... okay, so Queen Zapzaps is still here.
Yay. The best character.
With her crown and her clutch of babies. And she says... she kind of looks at Wynne, because Wynne's the person she can communicate with, and chitters and chats at Wynne, and basically it roughly translates to you want other Snarly? They probably lost.
Yes, please.
They let out a bunch of chitters, and all their babies kind of let out the same chitters, and it echoes through the woods. And you hear a chorus of chitters back. Queen Zapzaps jumps into the trees. The dead tree, and it kind of just falls over, and she kind of frowns, gets on the ground, and starts sloshing through the swamp. and going as fast as she can across the marshy floor.
Shoot, I left my all-terrain legs at home. Which in hindsight was a foolish decision.
I guess that means we're supposed to follow her.
Yes, I would assume so. Right, you see,
Out of everything on this planet, I think I trust Queen Zap Zaps the most.
I would have to second that, yes.
Yes, I think so far the only thing that has not tried to kill us.
Emerald
Actually, the things that have most tried to kill us are our own crewmates. If we're keeping a tally.
Emerald was going to ask a question and sheepishly kind of puts their hand down. Starts fidgeting with their gun again. So we're following the lightning bear.
Not really our crewmates.
Okay.
Well, I mean, one of us can talk to animals. Do you have any better ideas?
No.
Would you rather us follow the devil?
Absolutely not.
Wise choice.
Lightning bear it is.
Some little spikes extend from Clangley's legs. He kind of wades into the mud.
Queen Zap Zaps just knocked a tree down into the marsh, did she?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any really long sticks, and how are the limbs on that tree looking? If I can strip the limbs off of it and use it as a push boat for the marsh...
There are certainly big long sticks, big long dried sticks, and yeah, the tree's pretty dead. If you wanted to try and push it around, it wouldn't be too heavy.
You know, I dared mean to be demeaning, but I could just carry you.
Can you carry all of us?
I can carry at least two of you. The small ones, to be, I mean that, of course, very respectfully.
Kind of turn to Claire and then ask, okay, do you want to wait or do you want to go with push boat?
Push boat? I
don't know what's in that water.
And I don't know what would happen if March got all up in my magic wire gun thing.
You'd be surprised.
Bad things, I'd presume.
Clean.
Urban flood environments are fine. You won't get cholera. You will. Don't do that. Yeah, this swamp's gross. It's a swamp.
Also, I would imagine that we're not inoculated to the various viruses that are on this planet.
No, you and Claire and Clangley are very much inoculated. The rest...
Oh, no, we're fine.
Maybe Russ, but that's about it.
I mean, I do have lesser restoration prepared, I think.
And then
Claire is suddenly... Oh, go ahead, Dan.
I would like to aid Issabel in creating a push boat of some kind.
Okay.
Claire is suddenly thinking about the various viruses that could possibly be on this planet.
Yeah. No one is immune to anything here. Now, granted, they're all used to infecting monsters and Jersey Devils. So, I mean, who knows what the humanoid...
Yes, when has a disease ever made a jump from animal to human? That doesn't make any sense. That never happened.
You don't know.
That seems absolutely preposterous.
Well, the good thing is, no one would refuse a lesser restoration based on some sort of, I don't know, weird, totally nonsensical belief system.
Look, let's keep politics out of our D&D, Andy.
Wait, I don't understand. Who's talking about what now? Everyone just take horse medicine.
Clangley with his giant automated workers of the world tattoo on his chest. Is going to begin building this push boat.
Sorry, chat's going insane right now.
A little bit.
How many people do we have in chat?
A bunch, and we're on level 4 of a hype train, which I think is the highest we've ever been. So thank you so much, chat. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you too. Anyway. Okay, so Clangley and Issabel they fashion a rough boat out of the tree. You know, it's the tree. But you break off a bunch of the extra limbs and stuff like that. Queen Zap Zaps is like, at like, you know, she's like 200 feet away maybe, and she kind of like is just sitting on a stump like, oh my god, these people are so slow.
He's not wrong.
When the boat is finished, Clangley will like stick his hands in the water and spin them around really fast.
Okay. Is that something he can do?
I don't know, can I?
I don't think so. Unless, is it something Warforged? I mean, do you have like Warforged get like equipment bits, right? Like they get.
Yeah,
like...
I have tools built in, and I am an artificer, which means with time I can create any set of tools using a set of tinker tools.
Yep. Okay, so what kind of tool would this be?
I was thinking this would be some kind of modified drill, but okay. I understand if you just don't want to let me do that.
No, yeah, as long as you can explain it, that's fine. Yeah, so you make some kind of modified drill.
How attachment?
There are 2 artificers here. I think we can make it happen.
Yeah, so Clangley puts his arms in the muck and starts kicking things up.
Clangley propeller.
Emerald kind of, you know, is holding all of their belongings above their head. And you all start very slowly trudging along the... okay, good.
The boat isn't moving very fast, but as soon as it does starts moving, Claire, who's standing up, suddenly falls over.
Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.
I'll keep that in mind.
And Warforged get seasickness.
Warforged can remember getting seasickness.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I don't remember getting seasickness.
This Warforged can remember getting seasickness. This Warforged also remembers having a body that was much smaller than the one she has now.
This Warforged is very curious as to your backstory, but we should go over that later.
Okay. First, let me do a skeleton.
Yeah.
I can use
spoon to dab. Okay, so you catch up to Queen Zap Zaps. Queen Zap Zaps has kind of been sitting on the stump, and her eyes have been glowing, and she's kind of been letting off this like arc field that seems to be feeding all of her children. And as you get closer, she stops. And starts to continue walking through the muck, hopping from tree to tree where she can, otherwise getting into the swamp itself, occasionally looking back and cocks her head and asks Wynne, why you ride tree?
So we don't get wet.
Get wet bad?
I am made of shiny
Get wet bad?
Tell her that I am made of shiny rock.
Most of the time.
And getting wet is bad for me. Because of the shiny rocks.
Queen Zap Zaps climbs onto the tree, and as the boat passes, she tries to climb on to the boat. She's way too
You gotta help her get on the boat.
She
you gotta help her get on the boat.
She will not fit.
Oh,
not with all of you.
Okay. Well, we can't give her a crown and a boat. At a certain point, we're going to be replaced as the dominant species on this rock by the raccoon people.
I might be okay with that.
Yes.
I for one welcome our advanced raccoon overlords.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made this world into a trash can. Why not let them live in it?
Fair enough. Anyways, how long does it take to get to where we're going?
Queen Sap says many strides left.
A lot.
And eventually the swamp turns back into a pine forest, and you can leave the boat behind. The boat, the hollowed out tree.
That's the job done. Unless you're a giant lightning raccoon.
And you all keep following Queen Zapzaps. She shakes herself dry and again kind of lets out a little arc field, and all of her fur starts to stand up on end, sizzling, and it smells great. It's wet garbage water that's being electrified. It doesn't smell good. It's crackling ozone and trash.
Smells like. Wait a second, I don't smell.
You probably smell. I don't know. So you keep going. Eventually, you find a person, a human, receding hairline, wearing a pilot's outfit, or what looks like it was a pilot's outfit. Leather coat, kind of the jodhpurs, the scarf, the goggles, but it's all torn, and he's just sitting against a tree, kind of looking up at the tree line, at the canopy, and hitting his head against it, like just kind of over and over again.
Oh dear. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Might you be one of the? Well, I mean, I guess you would have to be. I don't believe there's anyone else here. Would you be one of the exploring ships from one of those ships set down here?
Yes.
Okay. Did you eat any people by chance? I know it's a very specifically weird
Clangley.
question, but let's get at some point. I'm sorry.
We have to get there at some point, but there were nicer ways to ask that.
Claire looks at me and goes, well, did you eat any people?
Blair and Clangley, masters of subtlety.
He says, I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, let's assume no. Would you like to come back with us to our ship? I don't know exactly what happened to yours.
We landed at the rendezvous.
One of us made it, at least.
Oh, thank goodness. Well,
and that makes exactly one.
So far that we know of, yes.
One of our ships was intercepted by a giant rock, the other by a giant flying crocodile, and I think it was called a dragon. And I don't quite fully know what happened to the others.
He says 3 ships made it to their rendezvous. You were in the ship attacked by the giant bird?
Yes, we were.
Okay, glad to see that you all made it. Kind of nods very unassuredly. Queen Zapzaps asks you, Wynne, say, is it normal for you to eat peoples?
No, that's a recent thing.
The Snarlies.
Snarlies. We didn't know they were here until we came down.
Understand what we're saying?
Apparently.
I mean, Wynne can speak to small animals.
Okay. Well, if you're relaying everything there,
well.
I mean, it's not like a 1-to-1. No, she totally gets that we're from space, that kind of thing. But it's like,
nah, she doesn't understand what metal is. I mean,
yeah.
Also, we're really stretching small animals. She's the size of a bear. But raccoons they're small normally, and they're related to bears, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's something lost in translation.
Also, she's nice. Like,
yeah.
If she was mean, I probably wouldn't let this work. Yep, there's one.
There's one.
Oh.
There's one.
Okay. The pilot says, so are we going back to the rendezvous, I guess?
Back to where we've set up shop first. That's closer. And then to the rendezvous from there. Also, a question we should have asked first. What's your name, sir?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Nick.
So, Mr. Nick, are you ready to go, or do you need some more time to process?
No, let's go, because then I don't have to think about it.
Okay.
Fair.
We also don't know if we're going to run into those weird devil things again.
What?
Yeah.
Hopefully don't worry about it.
Let's go.
Not it too hard.
Okay. So onward then, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he similarly kind of pats down for his equipment. He checks his gun belt, holsters it, and follows you. Follows you as you start leading back to the ship. Can I get survival checks, please?
Oh boy.
No.
I use my cartography tools in lieu of them.
Okay.
I think you'd say yes, honestly. All right.
I got a dirty 20.
I got a 9.
I got a 4.
Okay.
13 if you let me use photography tools, and much lower if you don't.
The one of us who is geared for survival actually makes their survival check.
Who knew?
I mean, it's probably a good thing that we have a ranger / druid. Or druid.
What do you mean
Sorry,
I'm
yes.
supposed to be back at the ship at a workbench? Nonsense.
Okay. So Okay. The Wynne can take the lead, and Clangley can continue to update his map. So now you have a decent little chunk of this pine forest and the pine barrens that you've explored, and you head back to the ship. As you arrive, dusk is falling. You've been out all day. You rendezvous. The folks who remained here, I think, are Gris, Dust, Maddie, and the Warforged. I think everybody remained.
I thought some of them were going to go off to.
That's right.
Do some of the shit.
So I think it was Gris.
It was
Maddie.
Gritty, Dust, Maddie for sure.
Okay, Gritty, Gris, Dust, Maddie. We'll say is here.
No, that would be a far less nervous person to have with us. Make the rest of us more nervous.
Sleep with one eye open, devil. Okay. Okay, so you all return with Emerald and Nick. Shut up, Marty.
What did he say?
He said, "I've never mislaid an NPC. Not ever. There have been entire episodes where I forget someone is there." Okay. So
and Mark's there too.
Yeah, they just didn't say anything. Don't worry about it. Okay. So as you arrive, do you want to camp in the ship or below the ship?
In the ship, because I've made a notice that nothing lives on the surface of this planet, and there's probably a reason for it.
Okay. So, back to the pulley system. You all get raised back up. The introductions are made, and you all start to settle in. As kind of implied last time, the ship isn't really comfortable. It's not really meant for long haul stays. So, it's meant to drop you off at the surface and have supplies on it. You're not supposed to sleep on it, really. So it's not super comfy. But you all can certainly make do.
Yet.
And yet, certainly. But it's dry, mostly temperature regulated, and it hasn't been too uncomfortable a temperature outside yet. So, do you all want to take watches or just everybody sleep? I know the Warforged only they sort of can just watch while they sleep.
I actually have not taken any damage or used any spells since the last time, so I don't even need to do that.
Well, but if you don't rest, you get levels of exhaustion.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Fair enough. All right, I will go into Sentry Mode.
Okay.
So will Claire.
Okay, perfect.
She'll kind of like position herself at like the open door of the ship and just kind of like focus on the floor of the forest.
Yeah. Clangley will position himself in whatever blind spot there is.
Okay. And Wynne and Issabel, what would you like to do?
I guess one would just go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, we also don't have to worry about keeping a werewolf locked in the cargo hold this evening, so we probably have more space to work with than last night.
Okay. Yeah, certainly. And there are less people here than last time. Clangley and Claire, you both notice that Matilda kind of is almost fighting sleep. Like she's sitting up and she kind of keeps nodding off and then snapping back awake every time her head kind of lulls.
Matilda was one of the ones who turned, right?
Correct.
Claire would kind of look at her and be like, "You weren't asleep when you turned last time." So, logically, you're not going to turn if you fall asleep now.
Well, logically, I've never turned into a monster before last night, and now it's night, and I could turn into a monster again. There's no precedent for my life.
You had the precedent of last night. It's already night. You weren't asleep when you turned. You're not turned now, and if you go to sleep, you're probably not going to turn again.
Look, you could spend the rest of your life living in fear of this issue, or you could, try to work through it. I understand the urge to deny it and try to pretend like it is something that exists, or try to do everything you can to avoid confronting it. But, at a certain point, you have to understand, if something does happen, we'll be able to take care of it. It's okay to rely on the people around you to help you with this.
I'm not trying to ignore it. I'm just trying to process a lot of stuff right now. They're going to send me back to Wyan Yoth, and I don't want to go. But I can't.
And what?
I certainly
exactly?
Can't stay here. But eventually they will. I'm not going to be able to stay here.
We can always just not tell them.
At least 2 people got eaten.
Dan, I think something happened with your mic just now.
I said, yeah, 2 people did get eaten.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
came through super weird.
I was just whispering weirdly.
Would almost look like your mouth didn't move either, so it did sound like a weird echo.
Dan's haunted.
Ooh.
Oh no. Stream is cursed.
I'm a
ghost. The dust passes out immediately. Matilda just kind of, she's like, I can't lie to the company. It's not safe. We can't just have extra monsters every month. There's already giant birds, apparently crocodiles with wings. You all fought some sort of kangaroo bat devil. The Queen Zaps, which I'm still not convinced is on our side. Lightning bugs, kind of look out, bugs the size of small dogs or keep landing on the exterior and crackling with lightning.
I'm not as emotionally attuned as Clangley is, but it sounds like you're dealing with 2 impossibles here. You can't stay here because you turn into a monster 1 out of 30 days, and you can't go back for whatever reason that you have yet to provide, and you do not have to provide it. So you're caught. Oh, the expression I think is between a rock and a hard place. Is that right, Clangley?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
She says, "So mystery why I don't want to go back. This is my dream. I always wanted to come to this planet and explore it."
So the only solution, it seems like, is to figure out how to not turn you into a monster.
Or figure out how to control said snarling state, if you will. Look, this has to exist for some sort of reason.
What was the man who was speaking to you? The one who told you to eat people?
Palark, King of the Wastes. He's a god. So I don't think I can... It certainly felt hopeless to push back against him.
Well, perhaps against him it might be difficult to push back, but keep in mind that these urges, at the end of the day, they are not... They are in some way part of your psyche. There may be a way to limit them without trying to fight God himself. Or
you could just fight God.
Fight God, do it.
Well,
I believe
Fight
in you,
God,
Maddie.
do it.
I don't know if that's a thing that is possible. You are welcome.
Yes,
I've
it is.
never heard of any adventurers ever defeating a god.
That sounds completely absurd.
It really doesn't sound right.
You need so many episodes to build up to that, like at least 60.
I think you can do it in 58. Kind of.
If I remember correctly, there were several.
Yeah, I mean, TFU probably defeated Tiamat at like 40. So I mean,
Tiamat. What's
Orcus.
God, she was the name of my patron, Zariel, who is kind of a god.
Yeah, a god level, a deity.
We defeated Asmodeus at
Zariel.
Litigation, which might as well be killing a god.
Yeah.
I'm counting Shemeshka. She counts.
She basically had the power of a god at that point.
Pretty much, yeah.
The only reason she's not a god is because then the Lady of Pain would have to strike her down from existence.
Well, she luckily wasn't in Sigil at that point.
I'm pretty sure that was intentional.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
That was 5?
Yeah.
6 if we can count Grandma?
7 if you count Tarbeck.
Wait, what do you mean? Your grandfather? Your great-grandfather?
Oh yeah, we did also fight
Imix. He's god level. Okay. If you're interested in that, watch Task Force Unlikely. 58 episodes, now streaming on YouTube.
Kill a handful of gods.
Literally.
Just a small handful.
He's fine.
No biggie.
Fine, it'll grow back.
I mean, when your paladin has like exactly one spell, and that spell is fuck you.
This is a good spell. Real good spell.
Very good spell. All right.
It's 2 spells, fuck you and revivify.
Yes. True.
Just use them in tandem, go back and forth, do it all over again.
Second verse, same as the first.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
All right. So as we head back, and as we're talking to this verklempt werewolf, Clangley will sort of put his hands on his knees and look her in the eye and say, "I am sure that there is a way that we can limit your what's the polite way to say this? Murderous tendencies. They need not control your entire life. These aren't particularly Look, how many years did you live on that planet not having any murderous tendencies?
Are you asking me how old I am?
That is something you're not supposed to ask organics. I forget sometimes. I apologize. The point is, you only just started having them, so we can probably put you in a state where you're not having them. Or at the very least, where you can have some measure of control over them.
She very quietly nods.
Or you could think about it like this. God causing your problems. You want to not have problems. Kill God. That's the methodological way.
Just, I mean,
we are level 3.
I'm not saying I can't eventually, but yeah, I'm a level 3 champion fighter.
Give it some time.
I also think he's like a third of magic. I don't know if we can kill him.
You could maybe try to get him to stop turning you into a werewolf.
Okay.
Aim God.
Well, look, I think probably he is excited to have worshippers down on this wild ground. I imagine the god of beasts and wilds probably doesn't have much power over a highly urbanized moon orbiting the actual wilds. Rather, he needed worshippers in the wilds, or at least is trying to coerce people into being his worshippers in the wilds.
It seems rather illogical to, or it's weird to use the word worshippers, especially because there's an element of consent to that word.
I didn't that's it.
He's trying to coerce you into being his worshipper.
He said,
is my understanding.
He did say something about how this fulfills a bargain.
Maybe there's something in there to exploit. You didn't ask for this. He has no right to force it on you.
Are we going
Gods have weird rules. Gods have weird rules like that.
Say that again, Clangley.
We're going to litigate against the gods
again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gods have weird rules, I'm told, and maybe you could find a loophole in there. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Kind of looks around. Are any of you religious?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
That kind of goes against my whole...
but my god doesn't exist here, and I'm also asleep right now, so...
I don't quite understand how I could be religious.
A lot of aspects of my existence are openly defiant of a lot of religious beliefs.
You really need to tell us about what your whole thing is, Claire. You're really dancing around the subject, but you haven't said it out right.
What?
You seem like someone who's trying to keep a secret, but is very bad at keeping secrets.
Let's not talk about this right now.
Okay, so this is all right. I'm putting a pin in that.
Yeah, Maddie kind of nods and says, "Yeah, that's put a. If it's going to happen once a month, that means we have 29 days, right?"
Precisely.
You can learn a lot in 29 days.
Exactly. Surely 29 days will be enough to figure out this nonsense, or at the very least temporarily get you back up to the planet so you can find some sort of cure for your lycanthropy condition. And after you do, you'll be able to come down and explore with the rest of us. You certainly have the proper training for it. I imagine we'd be lucky to have you back.
Yeah, she nods and gets up and curls up her sack, like her knapsack as best she can to, and she does say, "Hey, thanks," and kind of rolls over and tries to get some sleep.
Don't mention it. Clangley will unscrew his hat, tip it, and then screw it back on.
Okay. Let's see. The night passes by uneventfully other than that.
Yay.
So everybody take a long rest. Everything resets.
My spell slots.
Clangley does apologize to Claire for accidentally kidnapping her.
You know, as immensely agitating as this journey has been, you have to understand that I didn't really have anywhere else to go. I'd probably have been a little bit more resistant if I did.
Well, I suppose every interesting journey starts with saying yes. So, you're welcome to keep going on this lovely journey with us after we've found the rendezvous and have reestablished contact with the homeworld.
Thank you. I hope I can be of any amount of use.
Okay, Clangley will give Claire a firm handshake.
You take her, you shake her hand, and she kind of goes like very limp.
Yeah.
It's not the firm handshake of someone who is.
I just love weird handshakes.
War cuffing.
Yeah, I always think they're funny. Just awkward. I just always think awkward handshakes are funny. Okay, perfect.
Emot slapping noises.
So,
You kind of like pull her forward a little bit as you get her hand down. You're like, whoa.
Oh dear, you are very dainty.
I am made of ceramic.
Okay, well, I would like to know who built you. Your design is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Let's talk about it some other time.
Okay, and back on that again, right? Okay, different time.
We'll get there when we get there.
Okay. In the morning, everybody wakes up. Dust is kind of up early, and he says, I hate to be a bother, but is there food?
Yes, actually.
Oh, good. What do we have? Because I kind of need to eat, like, every couple hours, or else I get sick.
Yes, that is how most organics work, is my understanding.
Well, we have trail rations, and Maddie, do we have any trail rations?
Yep.
Claire will kind of excitedly run over to like one of the boxes that she started unpacking whenever they crash landed because she didn't know what else to do, and then like take out one of the ration packs that she kind of like took out and stacked and then took out and stacked and then realized that wasn't helping anything and then put it back. She's like, I remember where these were.
Thank you, Claire.
It's like a pack of dehydrated protein.
It's rehydrating.
Water.
I have
bad water.
It's rehydrating in my mouth.
I have create or destroy water, so I can create some water for us.
Okay, that's pretty helpful.
We did also pack these giant he's gonna open a door and there's just like 50 those like 5-gallon things of water. I imagine he brought a bunch of water.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, he might actually. I listed his spells at some point. They're all weather based. But yeah. If he'll take some water, rehydrate the food, start to eat that.
Call it oven when you rehydrate. Eat the food.
Okay. In the morning, what would everybody like to do?
Also have breakfast.
Finally, we'll just like take a giant bottle of like coolant and just
During the night and the hours that Claire wasn't in Sentry Mode, she started taking out the little like dead wood chips that she collected off the tree and just kind of examining them with her herbalist kit.
Okay.
And after the whole ration thing happened, just kind of went like back to that and has not interacted with anyone since.
Clangley's got all the maps that he's been working on. They're actually, I would imagine they're starting to come together at this point, kind of. At least for the surrounding area.
Yeah, definitely. You have a fairly functional map of like a 10-kilometer radius.
I am so glad I picked up cartographer's tools. Like you have no idea.
Okay.
Issabel is probably planning out the campsite. Both how to make the ship in the tree a bit more permanent, because that seems like a good base to build off of. And just going from there, sort of taking that into consideration since we don't have contact with the rest of the ships at the rendezvous yet. And as far as a location to be in, this one hasn't been bad.
Yes, but what if there's a particularly bad storm and some of the trees buckle?
Well, that's why we reinforce the connection to the trees and distribute the weight better.
So yes, if it falls down, it will fall down slowly and... Okay, yes, I understand.
It doesn't fall.
Yeah.
It's already survived one rather nasty storm. I can probably survive more if it's prepared.
Quite frankly, the sturdiness of this wood baffles the mind.
Well, there aren't a whole lot of trees up on the moon, at least not large ones, so... These ones are particularly great examples, but they're not unheard of.
Hmm.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So you can certainly start planning a way to make this area a permanent base. I did it twice.
Thank you.
Yeah. As you said, reinforcing to the trees, creating proper support structures, maybe cutting some of the trees down around this to give it a little swaying room, or not to cut down all the swaying.
Also, like, having more trees nearby lets it eventually expand.
Sure.
Ewok village centered on a ship in a tree.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
you continue to stall for time.
Yes. No. Okay, so you can certainly do that. Perfect. Dan's back.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So you can certainly do that, but in order to do that, you would probably need additional supplies from the actual base. So, do you want to go rendezvous with the other ships? Or do you want to reconsolidate everything you have here and start the process now?
I think we should go talk to the other people.
I think we should.
Because we're still missing a ship.
So yeah, if that's... You said 2 or 3 ships made it to the rendezvous and 2 others were attacked.
So 3 ships made it to the rendezvous. There were a total of 5 ships.
5 ships.
3 ships made it to the rendezvous. Your ship crashed. Another ship was attacked by winged crocodiles. You have met someone from that ship. So they survived. They're just crashed somewhere. So you don't know kind of their current status. Other than one of the werewolves is from that ship. And they went back to the rendezvous point.
It seems the best strategy for overall is to go to the rendezvous point and then put a pin in this, making this the base camp situation.
Okay.
Yeah, because we gotta go see what they're doing. Because if they're making that the base camp, then we're kind of wasting our time making ours our base camp. Unless we want 2 base camps, just like...
Yeah, that might not be a terrible idea.
It's not a
Redundancy
terrible
is
idea,
fault-tolerant.
We do still need to reunite with the others.
Part of the thing is, we did come here to leave people behind here. So
Yes.
not everything we came with needs to come back with us. In fact, the less we bring back with us, the better.
Okay.
I mean, we also still need to figure out what we have, because we're like going back to the planet. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to figure out how much fuel we have left total with all the ships. How many need to go back to the
Fortunately,
party.
most of the workers are mechanical, so I don't think food will be too much of an issue. I was planning on staying here for a much longer period of time, actually, setting up a workshop and whatnot. I need metal to create parts and such.
So if I got it correctly, our plan of action should be go rendezvous with the others, see what we can do at that base camp, what they're doing, what we gonna do, and then we just start exploring. Either we go find the other ship that we need to explore, that we need to find, or we just go start looking for like resources that we're gonna eventually need to
second ship,
expand the
I believe,
camp.
should be the priority, and then So yes, rendezvous point, find the second ship, and then decide on expansion or exploration from there.
Agreed. It's 4x. We're on our 4x bullshit. Well, hopefully just 3x. I don't want to do that last x. It gets very messy, especially with the giant, Jersey Devils.
They were normal-sized Jersey Devils.
They were like 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
They're just horrifying.
And very loud.
They're very loud little kangaroo bats. Weird. Folklore's weird.
Still waiting for you to throw a Flatwoods monster at us. I want it to happen so bad.
We'll have to see. Okay. So you all start out with Gris, Maddie, Dust, Emerald, and Nick. Queen Zap Zaps has disappeared in the night again, and you have not seen her, but I'm sure she will be back to see you all soon, since everybody likes her. She's a popular recurring character.
I feel like this is one of those situations where you made an NPC and didn't expect us to keep them.
Oh no, I expected you to keep her.
Ah, good.
100%. I went, yeah, they'll try and befriend that immediately. Jersey Devil less so. Okay. So you all start walking. Can I get survival checks again, please?
If you must. The answer is probably no.
My question is the same. Can I use my cartography tool since
Sure.
I made a map?
Yes.
Okay, that is 7 is 15.
How did I roll worse? I got a 6.
16.
16. Yeah, I should just have Wynne.
I got a 15 on my cartography. I like to assume that I'm like helping with the map and she's actually doing the actual.
That is basically what I'm thinking as well. Is that Wynne is actually navigating and that you are noting and assisting. But
yeah, I mean, we sent people to the rendezvous point the other day, so it's like you just follow their trail.
Yeah, exactly. So, following their
this
trail
right here, we already did it.
Following their trail, Clangley continues to note his map. You all head to the other camp.
Hey, Andy, while we're walking, can I cast a spell?
Sure.
Amazing. Have we been walking for more than an hour?
Yes.
Okay, while we were walking, I would like to cast Find Familiar.
Okay.
Which is a spell that I have. And I would like to choose a raven, and I would like it to fly over ahead of us. And let me know what bullshit is coming our way.
You got it. Okay. Sorry, let me double check.
What's her name?
Find familiar.
You have a familiar now. What's its name?
Her name is Stones.
Yay.
She is much more used to old library towers and basement labs. But she can fly, so she's going up ahead of us.
Far away is it? A stone's throw as the raven flies.
I get it.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you create a raven. It appears magically out of thin air, and it flies on its way.
As soon as it poofs into appearance, Claire gets very excited. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know if you would appear on this planet."
It kind of cocks its head at you, like, and thinks, why wouldn't I? It's magic.
Also, I didn't... She thinks telepathically. It was like, also, I didn't know if you would appear for me.
Oh. We can talk about that later, ma'am.
Yeah, just go.
Okay.
Just go.
I want
trees
singing like crazy right now.
You didn't hear any of that conversation.
Yeah, that was all telepathic.
I know. I don't actually have a wand of secrets. It's a different character.
The bird seems confused by trees and starts to fly through them. Okay. Eventually, you all approach another small clearing, and you can hear a bunch of clamor and voices up ahead. And indeed, you see 3 ships have kind of edged this rather large clearing, kind of penning it in, and a bunch of Warforged are here. In addition to the other crews of the ship, including the folks you sent ahead yesterday. People kind of wave and cheer as other folks join, happy that you all weren't lost in the woods indefinitely.
Happy to say there were no casualties.
A couple people nod. There is one crew in particular that seems to have black bands around their wrist upper arm. Upper arm, as if they are in mourning, not as if they are like fascists or something, but as if they're in mourning.
I hate that you had to specify that.
I know, but people used to wear black bands on their arms as if when they were in mourning, and now I feel like that's not. It's not something people do anymore, really. But
because of the other thing you mentioned.
Yes.
Sorry for your loss.
Kind of nods. And yeah, Nick and Emerald say goodbye, thank you, and they start to head over to where their crews are gathered.
And Clangley will basically start. I'll wait till you're done. Sorry.
So now that a bunch of people have kind of come back, someone towards the center of the camp says that they'll be holding a meeting and a vote soon on things to focus on and accomplish next. So get settled, and in half an hour, come to the center of the clearing. You can see there is a bunch of boxes stood up there where kind of people can climb on top and talk to a large group of people at once. So is there anything anyone wants to do in the intervening half hour? Otherwise, we will cut to the meeting.
Clangley in the
Yeah. Okay.
Go. This happens every time. Clangley in the intervening half hour will just go around and help any Warforged that have had, mechanical issues, basically helping them out and fixing minor mechanical problems.
Okay.
And also trying to figure out what the vote is on. Like, if he's heard any rumors to what the votes are for.
Okay. We'll address that in a second. Issa?
Issabel is, since she's probably one of the chief engineers on the project, needs to go find whoever our expeditionary captain is, or whoever's the most in charge of us. Just figure out where things are, because she's probably, from the company perspective, one of the more important people that ended up going down, since she built the ships and probably owns a handful of patents on them.
Okay, perfect. So that's two irons in the fire. Claire and Wynne, anything you'd like to declare? Otherwise, we'll resolve.
I think
Claire.
I think Wynne would go around asking people, asking people what they've seen, sort of ecology-wise, nature-wise, and if they've spotted any different moss or fungi they've seen.
Okay. Yeah. A couple people can provide you with some. Yeah, I saw a mushroom. And Claire.
Claire is kind of hanging off of Clangley's sleeve a little, following him around as he does these inspections of the Warforged. And as he goes, she becomes kind of increasingly curious and a little bit morbidly fascinated with the construction of the other Warforged. Watching as he kind of takes them apart, puts them back together. She's it seems to click in her mind a little bit. Something kind of goes off, and every once in a while she'll pop open one of her panels and try to surreptitiously compare to what the other Warforged have. But other than that, she's mostly just tagging Clangley.
Clangley has no problem explaining everything. He seems to enjoy talking about his profession a little bit too much, so he has no problem with every ridiculous tiny detail. Just, well, you see, this joint was created in 1801 by Mr. Frederick Wilsmithen, called the Wilsmithen joint.
Claire is absolutely asking you questions if that's the case. She'll be oh, okay, and specifically, what does this part do? And okay, well, how does that affect the overall construction? And does it add any additional yada yada yada? Keeps going on and on and on. Also, she has asked Stones to just kind of circle around the camp and see if anything weird is happening. That's the specific wording she uses. Ask if anything weird is happening.
Okay.
And it is a command that Stones would be used to.
Okay.
Well, we're on a planet and there are trees, and I don't know what those are, so that's weird.
God, they move. Okay. So, Claire's doing that. Clangley, the vote is basically on what everyone wants to focus on. So it is what will be the first projects built. Kind of where are they going to start allocating resources to? It's unclear whether or not the vote is binding, if the boss can override it or what, but that's what the vote is on. And Issabel, you are heading to find the kind of expeditionary captain, who is a woman named Kayla Crawford. And yeah, she has a tent in front of the dropship Ranger 1, and set up with a bunch of crates in it. There's a map, but there's like nothing drawn on it yet, kind of thing. And she welcomes you in.
Good. I was worried that you would be on the other ship that got crash landed.
No. Thankfully, most of the crew members have returned. The ship is still, I believe, half sunk in a swamp. So we're going to have to try and get whatever supplies survived out of there. But apparently there was some sort of little bat creature that kept swarming them. There was a whole flock of them, and after the crocodiles landed, and it's just the whole thing. How are you? I believe you were attacked by a giant bird.
Yes, we ended up aloft in trees in a pine forest. Actually, a rather fortuitous position. It might be worth keeping number 3 up there for a bit.
Locked in trees is better than in a swamp.
Much better than in a swamp. See what of the ship we can salvage when we get to it.
She'll say, Cora, take that down. And a Warforged kind of type something out. On like a little...
Yep, there's 2.
There's 2. Oh, that was quick. I didn't even have time to mute. Oh, wait.
Wait for it.
There we go.
Hey.
Okay. Yeah. Cora is a Warforged who is typing on like a little, court stenographer's like shortcut, shorthand typewriter, and a little bead of a little strip of paper is coming out of it. She says, and you think it would be advantageous? How much base building resources are you going to need?
Well, it depends where we decide to focus. If we want to use it as a backup for a main base, then obviously less if we decide to turn that to the main base. But one of the things that I've noticed in the flora we've encountered is nothing lives directly on the surface of the planet. Everything we find either flies or climbs or has some way of being above ground. And I'm concerned there might be a reason for that.
That is alarming.
It might just be that we've only seen a very small snapshot of what's actually on this planet.
I mean, the planet's huge. It can't be
exactly
that everywhere at the same time. Why is that true here? She says, but back to the idea of this lofted base, that could be a good communications tower for when we get radio signals back up. Being higher up might be advantageous, especially with all the trees. Okay. All your crew okay?
Yes. We had one wolf. It was our quartermaster. She's fine. Well, she's handling it as well as one could expect.
It's been hard. Have you
Yes.
Why do you think it affected five total members of the crew? Any thoughts?
Well, I've learned that you apparently don't know or have legends about werewolves.
People that turn into wolves, no, other than people who druids can shapeshift, but they remain they have all their faculties.
I don't really have a whole lot of specifics about it. It's not a subject I really focused. It's mostly just legends and stories from back home is what I've been working on. But the way that they sounded like him, I think going forward that it not being a surprise will be very advantageous to them. I think part of the loss of control was a good deal of the not expecting it.
Yeah, well, we can certainly lock them up for their own safety. It didn't happen last night, so is it
Full moons.
full moons?
Full moons.
So, in a month. Okay.
Full moons and a handful of ways to kill, but not really stop. I'll be keeping those to myself unless I have to.
Okay. Anything else?
Went through a certain amount of the base building supplies to make a lightning rod for a giant raccoon. She's our friend now. So that's nice.
As promised, this place is full of surprises.
Indeed.
Well, we'll have a meeting in about 10 minutes. If you'd like to pitch your case for the rest of the crew, you are more than welcome to offer the suggestion. Otherwise, certainly we'll think on it. Oh, and I don't know if I said she's an elf, by the way. Wood elf, I guess. Yeah, she's not an Eladrin. She is an elf.
Well, city elf, maybe more so than wood elf.
Yeah.
Probably after talking to the captain, Issabel would have to go find what's essentially the rest of her engineering crew that's there and figure out what they've been up to.
Okay. Okay. So, you head over to the engineering crew, finding them. Claire has sent stones around the perimeter to check for anything weird. What would stones be looking for? What does stones consider weird? Since you have certainly, as you said, established what that is.
Any kind of, so when Stone says look out, usually she would look for like people trying to spy. Usually, Claire has also told her telepathically about some of the monsters that they've encountered, so if she sees any more of those. Anything else that flies, Claire would also have her look out for. That kind of thing.
Okay. So it's I'm not doing that. No, I'm having familiars be slightly smarter than that. It can communicate with you. So Stone says there are other birds like her. Small, large. Some of them, most of them are staying away. They can see some lightning raccoons in the distance. But otherwise, no other creatures. As established, nothing lives on the forest floor. And the same is true in this glade. And it doesn't look like any creature had like nests here or anything like that. As you, so that's about that. Can I get an investigation check from everyone, please?
Oh boy.
Maybe.
Investigation.
Actually.
I'm actually a smart boy. I have proficiency in that. Okay, well, I rolled terrible, so that's an 11.
11.
Oh.
Okay.
10.
10.
13.
13.
19.
19.
This is a really smart party, and yet we all just did not roll that well.
Well,
Yeah, Issabel did good. Issabel, as you're walking back to the to your engineering crew, something strikes you, which is that as you're looking around, taking stock of everything, all of the werewolves were the only humans in the expedition, in addition to one half-elf.
Huh. So Issabel's going to kind of turn on her heel, go back to the expeditionary captain, and relay this information.
Kayla's like, and another thing to Cora. Cora's just typing. Oh, Issabel, you're back. Yes.
The humans and the half-humans.
What about them?
They all turned into wolves. You didn't, you're a full elf. I'm not from here. Wynne didn't, she's a halfling.
no.
Chris didn't, they're an Aarakocra.
It's... What? It's all the... So any human who steps foot on this planet is a werewolf?
Perhaps. At least all the humans and partial humans with us.
Looks at Cora, says, do not write that down. Okay.
Don't write that one down.
Noted. And will be investigated further. Thank you for your observation, Issabel.
Right. Back to the engineering report I was going to go get.
Back across the field. You see a small explosion from the engineering corps.
My home! Bring it to me.
There's a small explosion. As you walk in, people just go, Isa!
Was that intentional or not?
Half.
Okay.
And a small core consisting of an additional goblin, 2 dwarves, a halfling, an eladrin, and 2 warforged.
Assuming it's a lot of drinking and complex math going on.
Oh, yes.
Is there any other way to do engineering?
For all the engineers that I know? I mean, drinking depends on what kind of engineering they're doing. If it's their professional work, then generally not. If it's more their hobby work, then yeah, no.
Okay. So you start to get caught up with them, but not you're not there long before you can hear Kayla call everyone together for a meeting.
So, question: are these Warforged? I have the guild member background. Basically, the way I imagine that working is because Clangley is kind of a highest-ranking member of the union that he's part of, which I assume other Warforged are part of as well. Could he potentially use that to sway the vote in a certain direction? Or at least would he be able to make a persuasion check to do that?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I need a soapbox, so I'll save it for the soapbox section. But I'm asking in advance, so I can.
Yeah.
I would imagine
if you made
one of Clangley's jobs down here might be union rep.
I kind of figured that was one of his jobs. He's kind of not an official leader of Warforged here, but he is well respected and has kind of an important profession for them to, kind of congregate around, given that he kind of fixes them.
Guild Artisan, is that the one you're a part of?
Yes.
Okay. Feature. Yeah. It says guilds often wield tremendous political power. If you're accused of a crime, your guild will support you. You can access powerful political figures. Yeah. So I think that's a fair interpretation. Like you said, with a persuasion check, you're not going to be able to get them to do something that they certainly don't believe in. But they would listen to you and take your words into deep consideration. So Kayla calls a meeting. Everyone gathers. It's a pretty sizable group of people. There's about 50 people total. About 10 per ship. You all can see various members of the crew that you have met and haven't met down here. And Kayla starts talking. She says, now, there is a message from Mr. Greene that I'm supposed to play for everyone. I'm not going to do that right now. We've all had there is a smattering of applause. You all heard the one on the ship down. Look, I'll be honest, it's pretty similar. We've all been through enough right now. No one needs to hear that corporate doublespeak right now. It's all about synergy and opportunistic and aggressive and being obsessed with success. And it's a whole thing. Okay. We'll do it later. If you want to.
You made up a word of successive. I don't like it. Does not roll off the tongue well. I don't have a tongue.
Yeah, boundarylessness. It's just not a thing. Okay. So the most important thing is, what are we going to do now that we're here? What are we going to focus on? Our food and water supplies are in good order. We only lost a little bit in the crash of 5. It sounds like 3 is safe up in some trees. We'll get to that in a second. We're doing okay on food and water. Kind of looks out. I know there are several of you who can forage and or destroy food and water. That's excellent. So we're in the woods. We have been sent here to look for specific resources. Foremost being lumber and the magical ore residuum. So I want to know
Clangley will raise his hand.
Clangley.
Did they really name it Residuum?
They did.
All right. Okay.
Unobtainium was apparently copywritten. So.
What? Okay, look, we have a name for this planet, right? Why don't we just name the mineral after the planet?
I mean,
because then the corporation doesn't own the name.
Okay, then.
Your chief engineer is correct.
Maybe I'll bring that up at next meeting. Anyways.
You are certainly welcome to go talk to some lawyers.
Rather not, actually.
None of them came down here. But we should have communications, hopefully, back to the planet soon. So, I want to know what you all want to focus on. Grace.
If I may, I think probably first order of business should be building a landing pad for future spaceborne aircrafts. Look, I understand that some of our ships did survive the journey, but we need to make it as easy as possible to get to and from this planet, from the moon. I think the next order of business should be a well for water, given that it can be difficult to not die when you do not have water, is my understanding. Obviously, I myself am not organic. And the third order of business, I believe, should be some sort of beacon, in case the landing pad itself is not sufficient for us to be located.
I mean, I think you should switch around the landing pad and the beacon.
Probably a good idea.
Because the landing pad is going to take a while. Like anything, like construction-wise, we're going to build is going to take a while.
Landing pads aren't particularly difficult. It's mostly just clear cutting and leveling some ground.
Yes, and we are looking for timber anyway, so kill two birds with one stone, as it were. Oh, I see what you did there. And then Clangley's going to point to Claire. Sorry. Yes. Little off topic.
Okay. A lot of suggestions. Thank you. So, but certainly all of those things will be priorities and things that we can split amongst our efforts too. But do we want to the other thing becoming? Do we want to focus on lumber production first? Or residuum production first. So, slightly out of game talk. If you focus on lumber production first, you will more quickly build up your base town. If you focus on residuum, you will get more money in the long term to spend later. But it will take more time because you have to ship it back, basically. Before you get it, it will increase the amount of money you get, though.
We are going to need that money later.
We are, but I also like prioritizing the base.
Yeah.
For now.
Just because safety.
I mean, character-wise, Wynne's in it for the exploration. She really couldn't care less about, because she's got food, she's got water, she has, a dry place to stay at night, but she's really all about going and exploring this planet.
The other two. So, with that, the other thing is if you get residuum, you can, instead of selling it immediately, you can use it to power the vehicles you all brought. You just have to build them as well. So you can also focus on building the vehicles, building the mining equipment, mining residuum.
I think. Well, we should do an intra-party vote probably first, because I imagine Isa and Clangley have some influence. They might be able to swing the vote one way or another.
Yeah. Spoilers. Whatever the four of you pick is what everyone votes for.
Okay.
Pretty much is what I kind of expected.
Claire's gonna do whatever Clangley thinks, mostly just because in terms of like company exploration, capitalistic pursuits, she's like just following his lead. In terms of her actual goals now on this planet, she's aligned a little bit more with Wynne in terms of like explanation, except now she's a little bit fixated on the whole a god is turning people into werewolves thing.
Fair.
That's worth being fixated on.
I don't see why.
I am leaning towards. I was initially leaning towards Idiom. Now I'm thinking, okay, lumber. We have to. We don't. Have to, the thing is, lumber has less input costs with regards to collecting it. I feel like residuum would be a much longer term project and much more difficult to get. And if we don't have a base, then good luck finding a place for the residuum to actually like stored and delivered. And
that's kind of why I want to focus on lumber right now. Is more money is good in the long term, but we have to survive to the long term.
Exactly.
I think we're gonna prioritize on base building for now.
Yes, what we got to do before the hostiles find us is we got to pump out more villagers. We have to mine some gold and wood.
We got to get our, mineral resources going. We have to start harvesting our Vespin. We need to get our economy up.
If you don't have a worker out by turn 30, honestly, you're just boned. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference.
Need more overlords.
Okay.
So I hear 2 votes for lumber. Claire said she would throw her weight behind Clangley's. Wynne, is there anything you would like to say? Or do you also vote lumber?
I guess lumber. As long as Wynne can walk off and go do something else. Sure. And not just clear lumber.
No.
Your job. That's your job, is to walk off and do something else with whatever you feel like it.
Not everyone will be clearing lumber, for sure. Everyone will have their own specific duties to fulfill. And yours is not going to be clear cutting a forest. You were brought on here for a very different reason.
We might need an environmental impact assessment at some point, but actually this contract apparently says specifically not to do environmental impact assessments. That's weird.
It says shred all documents. Okay. So for
quality
now,
corporate contract.
So she puts it to a vote, and everyone decides that we'd rather have a house than line some other person's wallet in the future. And Kayla kind of nods and says to herself, well, I should have seen that coming. She'll ask if anyone has anything else they'd like to add. Otherwise, you'll all disperse, and we'll start redirecting efforts towards lumber in the morning, and you'll have the rest of the evening to rest and recuperate.
Landing strip, beacon, well.
She nods and says, all on the list.
I would suggest moving them up on the list as soon as possible.
She says, noted.
I can have my men working on I can have my robots. What's the proper term in universe? It's automatons, right?
Automatons or Warforged is appropriate. Constructs. Constructs implies... automatons are Warforged.
I always go with synthetics or automatons.
Synthetics also works.
I can have my synthetics on it very quickly.
Robot has some negative connotation.
I imagine robots is what they probably called them before they gained sapience.
Correct. So this is alluded to way back when in a homebrewed episode. Robot is a gnomish word for slave. So most Warforged do not like being called robots because they are not robots. They are automatons. They are people. They are just synthetic. That doesn't mean they're not people who are paid for their work.
I compared it to Futurama in that they all have the quote-unquote parent company, but they're all very much individuals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know that's not the best example, but it's literally the only one I could think of at the time.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything else to add? Otherwise, the stream will wrap up as well, along with this meeting. Okay, perfect.
Go probably take some whatever notes the captain handed her to the engineering corps, figure out what we're going to do with those in the morning.
Okay, yep, perfect. And I'm going to have to come up with names for 50 people.
Well, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other members of the engineering corps.
Yes. They all deserve names. Okay. Outros and plugs. Dan.
Hi there. If you ever found yourself bored, why not check out the Laughing Dragon Inn's archive on YouTube, where you can watch all sorts of episodes of shows like this. Isn't that right, other cast members?
Why?
So
yes.
they might even feature us in them.
Wow, you don't say, other cast member Mira. Birds and nerds or members.
Yeah, my name was there for a second.
What?
Did you forget what my name was there?
No, I didn't forget. I just wasn't sure
No,
whether
it's
to go with
whoever's
Mira
behind-
or Birds and Nerds.
Whoever's behind the camera with him, holding up the note cards that he has to read for the ad read, they didn't really write it very well.
Yeah.
No.
Just squinting.
It either says Mira or Navira. I'm not sure.
Is that an R or an N?
I'm kidding. I know what your name is. You've been doing this for 3 years.
And hey, if you watch them, you might actually be able to understand all those references we made.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry,
My
we gotta
sources
get out of
say
our
yes.
system. Anyways, on to the next plug.
Liz.
Well, thank you, Andy. Hi, I'm Liz. You can follow me on social media if you like. If you're not busy, I don't know. I don't post anything. Just come watch here. I'm usually here most of the day.
Indeed. Mira.
Oh, frick, I forgot I'm not last anymore. I say that every time. Hi, I'm Mira. You can follow me on Instagram at Birds and Nerds. Don't bother looking anywhere else. I don't post anywhere else. I rarely post on Instagram anymore. You might see some animation stuff, just classwork. If you want to see a recent piece I did, you can go to Liz's. I don't know where she is on the screen. And see the commission I did of Wynne, the little drawing that I did of her, which was super fun, and I love looking at because it's so cute. Yeah, go see it. Find out what Wynne looks like.
Awesome. And Jay.
Hi. I'm, oh crap, where's my note? I'm Jay. Play games with your friends. Try to keep each other safe out there.
Yeah. Stay safe. Be well. Be kind. Wear a mask. Get a vaccine if you can. Wash your hands for sure. Play games with your friends. They make everything better. Next week, Martha and the Mandos returns on Monday. Come join our scummiest and villainiest Star Wars stream. And the Star Chasers, I promise, will have an episode next week. And that's it. Take care of each other. We love all of you, and stay safe.